Chapter 20. Mark slammed books into a moving box.
Did Frankie send you?
No, I came to check on Gus and you, I said, watching as more books were treated to the same abuse. He stopped for a moment to eye me.
Why?
Can't I check on you without an ulterior motive? He slammed more books and slammed them again when they didn't stay upright.
Unlikely.
He growled at the misbehaving books. Stop for a second and take a break, I said, moving toward the kitchen. I'll make you coffee. He tossed a book and took a breath.
Just grab me water from the fridge. Help yourself to whatever you want.
I grabbed 2 bottles of water and crossed over to Mark, who slumped down on the couch next to Gus. I gave Mark his water and gave Gus a pet before settling into a chair. Gus grunted and cuddled back into his oversized pink satin pillow bed. Any thoughts of reclaiming Gus were gone. He was living in the lap of luxury and was clearly doted on by Mark, who was currently cooing to him. I see you're serious about moving, I said, jumping into the dreaded conversation. But as long as I wasn't in an overcrowded apartment arguing with Muffin and listening to Maya throw up, the awkward conversation was welcome.
Yes. I accepted an offer on the chapel.
He said with a sigh and looked around.
Now I just have to pack everything.
I took a swig of water and pondered my next question. He'd accepted an offer, but he didn't seem upset that it was from Frankie. Personally, I thought he'd be outraged. Unless he didn't know about it. Who placed the offer? I asked, studying his steady expression.
I don't know.
I've never bought a place before, but don't you have to sign papers? I'm sure the paperwork has the buyer's name. Mark petted Gus and sighed.
I don't care who buys the place. It doesn't matter. I'll sign whatever X is placed in front of me.
I took another sip of water and watched him. He had no idea Frankie was buying his building.
How is he?
Mark asked softly, still focusing his attention on Gus. I took another sip of water before lying. He's fine. We're going to perform at Celebrity Mash tonight. Okay, the last part was the truth, but I thought a little pot stirring was in order. It wasn't just to get back at Frankie for all those times he's made my life uncomfortable. He deserved it. But that's not the case this time. It's because the 2 idiots actually had feelings for each other but were too stubborn to work it out. Instead, Frankie pushed and Mark fled. I'm sure there's a lesson to be learned somewhere in the muddle, but at present, I didn't have a clue. Instead, I'll wing it and see what happens. Mark's hand paused on Gus and then eventually continued.
Same song?
Yes?
Did you find a replacement singer?
He asked nonchalantly, but I could feel his tension from 5 feet away. No, Frankie switched the steps a little. He'll sing solo instead. Mark gave a slight nod.
I should keep packing,
He said and stood. I stood as well. Would you like help? He gave a small smile.
No, but thank you. I'll have it packed in no time.
I gave Gus one last pet and walked to the door, feeling a wave of sadness on losing Gus. If you want to come, we're scheduled to go on stage at 10.
Thank you, but I won't.
I think you may change your mind, I stated, opening the door.
Why would you think that?
It's time you find out who you're selling your building to, I said, walking out the door and feeling quite mischievous. I hope this doesn't backfire on me. What are they doing here? I hissed.
I invited them.
Frankie said and eyed Maya, who was sagging against a prop.
If nothing else, they can haul Maya off stage if she upchucks. Not like it's never happened before. Stage fright can be traumatic.
I peeked through the curtain again to see Grayson, David, Caleb, and Remy all sitting at a table together. Not only were they drinking, but they were talking. Talking. My already flip-flopping stomach was now clenched with added worry. God, please don't let the talk be about me and other events. Dark spirits, I pleaded. Please go away for one night. You can have a crack at me tomorrow. Just don't let Grayson and Caleb find out that I am seeing both of them at the same time. I was rather surprised Grayson and Caleb would show up since neither was happy with me. They must be here to support Maya. David certainly was. I had no idea who blackmailed Remy to sit through this. I had been feeling a little guilty about telling Mark to find out who was buying his building. I had thought it was the perfect plan to get Mark and Frankie to start talking again. The more I thought about it, though, the more I realized it wasn't such a good idea after all. The guilt evaporated when I saw who Frankie had invited.
We're on after this song,
Frankie said, making room for a very beautiful woman to pass through the curtain and onto the stage. A warm round of applause greeted her as she stood in front of the microphone. The intro to the song played, and she swayed to the beat. She took a deep breath and sang in baritone. Frankie rearranged his temporary breasts in the tight, sequined dress, and I had to admit, he looked way better in the dress than I would. He probably would look better in the tux that I was wearing as well.
I don't feel so good,
Maya said, holding her stomach.
We're on next.
Frankie said, pressing his lips into a thin line when she covered her mouth.
Just sit this one out.
I was really looking forward to it.
Maya pouted between her fingers.
After the baby comes, I probably won't get another opportunity.
You're friends with Frankie, I said dryly. There will always be another opportunity.
I'm going to try.
She said adamantly. Her pale face told me she wouldn't make it past the first chorus. Applause and whistles carried the curvy performer off stage. As she slid past the curtain, she itched her scalp, tipping the wig. Frankie clenched my hand as he was being introduced.
Divas, it's time to make some magic.
He grinned, patted his wig, and strutted on stage. Maya and I followed behind, not nearly as theatrically, but we gave our best. We stood in the spotlight, waiting for the music to cue. Thankfully, I couldn't see anything past the bright lights. My jittery nerves spiked to a crescendo as the first notes played. I heard the music and Frankie, but everything else was a haze. I felt like a ghost as I moved through the routine. 1, 2, hands up. Breast jiggle. Magic hands and shuffle. A horrendous wrenching noise caught me off guard. I couldn't remember if I was supposed to slide or shake. I glanced over at Maya for help and instantly forgot everything. She was bent over and heaving. I dashed over as Frankie stopped in mid-verse. David had the same idea and was on the stage in a flash.
Maya, are you okay?
David asked, wanting to help but turning the same color as Maya.
Does she have the flu?
He asked me, cringing as she tossed up her accounts again. No, she's...
How dare you?
A voice in the dark audience hollered. I held my hands up to block the light and saw Mark marching toward the stage, waving papers. Oh boy, I was hoping he would confront Frankie and work things out, but I didn't think he would charge into Celebrity Mash. Mark hopped on stage and stood toe-to-toe with Frankie.
You're trying to buy my building.
So?
Frankie said.
It was for sale.
Now it all makes sense. You wanted to get rid of me so you could have my building. You can forget it. The building is no longer for sale.
Mark shredded the papers and tossed them in the air. They fluttered onto the already crowded stage. Frankie's eyes bulged and he stomped a high heel, heading into a high-pitched battle with Mark.
Go away, David.
Maya cried between heaves.
Until you find Nadia's attacker, I have nothing to say to you.
Celebrity Mash staff infiltrated the stage, attempting to remove the unraveling scene, but only managing to make the situation worse. One unfortunate soul slipped in Maya's mess. The woman took one look and shrieked. Between the sight and smell, it was only a matter of seconds before she was doubled over and adding her accounts as well. Grayson and Caleb jumped on stage to help where they could, but even their help was adding to the chaos. Remy, I called. If anyone could defuse the situation, it was him. He meandered over to the side of the stage with crossed arms.
What?
A little help, please, I shouted over the growing mayhem.
You're on your own, Jet. It's bad enough that I was dragged here.
I screamed as something whizzed past my head. Damn it, Remy! Why are you being stubborn?
Stubborn.
His arms uncrossed as he stepped menacingly closer.
I'm not stubborn, just smart.
By letting this spiral out of control? I hardly call that smart.
No, by staying away from you.
Damn it, Remy. I can't believe you're afraid of one little kiss. Get your butt up here and help. Grayson whipped around.
You kissed him?
Come on. I cursed the dark spirits. How did he even hear that over several very loud shouting matches? He kissed me.
It was an accident.
How do you accidentally kiss a woman?
Caleb barked from the other side.
She's a pain in the ass. I didn't mean to kiss her, but how else do you shut her up?
Remy barked back.
I can think of 100 ways.
Grayson argued.
Although kissing does work the best,
Caleb acknowledged, even though his voice was still raised.
but it's only a temporary solution with her.
Grayson gave a nod of agreement and then stopped. He turned to Caleb with an accusing finger.
When did you kiss her?
We're dating. I kiss her all the time.
You're not dating her. I'm dating her.
Grayson stepped in between Caleb and me. Caleb brushed him aside to glare at me.
Is that why you've been MIA? Are you seeing Grayson?
She's been MIA with me too.
Grayson said, and then pushed Caleb aside to demand.
Who else are you seeing?
His eyes shot over to Remy, coming to his own conclusion.
Would you two shut up?
Frankie burst through with Mark hot on his heels.
You're both dating her.
Frankie!
It's the truth. But my money's on Remy. The dude kissed the hell out of you.
He bristled and then flew backstage with Mark in pursuit, harping about quilted covers. I felt the hard stares of 3 angry men. I gulped and took a step back. What do I say?
This is why I stay away. Damn women.
Remy barked and stormed off. I bit my lip and glanced at Caleb and Grayson. Both were wearing stunned expressions. I'm sorry. I was confused. I told you both I needed time. I'm sorry, I said again. Caleb shook his head in disbelief. He turned his back and walked away without another word. Caleb? I called.
Let him go.
Grayson said, watching me with hard eyes.
Did you and he?
Have sex? I filled in the obvious. He gave a tight nod. No, same reason I didn't with you.
Do you love me?
Yes. A beat of silence passed before he asked.
Do you love him?
Yes, I answered.